and gentlemen, welcome to the main event.
Let's get ready to rumble! This one by Mattingly. Oh, hang on to the roof. Montana looking, throwing in the end zone. 5 seconds left in the game. Do you believe in miracles? Yes! Little roller up along first. Behind the man. It gets through Buckner. Here comes Knight and the Mets win it.
Yes, welcome back. This is Sports and Sorts on a Friday morning. We go live on YouTube every Monday and either Friday or Saturday around 10ish. If you want to be notified when we go live, go ahead and hit that notification bell on this YouTube channel and help us out by liking our videos, of course, and giving them a thumbs up and or clicking that subscribe button because that also helps us as well. You can also find the Sports and Sorts anywhere podcasts are played. You can find us at www.sportsandsorts.libsyn, that's libsyn.com. And of course, I am one of your hosts, and my name is Shane Moore.
And I'm the Bry Man. Feels like we haven't been here in a while.
We haven't. It's been a hot second. But you can find us on Facebook at facebook.com/Shane and the Bry Man. You can find us on Twitter at Shane and Bry Man, where we post all our videos, other newsworthy topics, stuff like that. And if you comment during the show, we will put it up on the screen. Guaranteed.
Anything you put on that monitor, we will read.
Well, we might not read it, but it'll be put on there. If it's a good comment, then we might even talk about it. All right, so we got a lot to talk about today. Today, the state of the Yankees, who are currently sitting at 5-7, and the Who's Hurt Now list seems to grow every week. We're also going to be talking about the Masters that started yesterday. Our man, Brooks Koepka, who we trashed, particularly me. I trashed a lot.
You! Yes, I'm less of a trasher.
Yeah. The odds came out. He was up there, but Jason Day, I think, might have been leading the list. But
actually, Koepka was not as high up as I would have thought he would have been. I think he was like 25-1 when the odds first came out, which I thought was
that's good. That's good.
They're
Those are
good, but if you looked at like some of the names ahead of him, and considering how this guy has played at major championships recently, to me that was kind of an insult.
Yeah, I actually had because I was going to post the list yesterday, but by the time I got to it, it was too late because I wanted to get to it before everybody played, and I didn't do it. But he was actually Brooks Koepka was 9-2.
Well, that must have gone way up because when I first saw it, it was not like that. Yeah. It was nowhere near that. So did that actually make him the odds-on favorite? Was there anybody with better odds?
Favorite. Yes, he was the favorite.
Okay.
Dustin Johnson.
Well, then Vegas got it right.
Dustin Johnson 6-1.
He's playing well too.
Bryson DeChambeau was 13-2,
and he's in second. Well, he's tied for first. Sorry.
Tiger is 10-1. Phil 12-1.
Tiger's
John
there.
Ram 12-1.
Phil's there. Yep.
Ricky Fowler 14-1. Adam Scott 20-1. Francesco,
Adam's up there.
Your boy, Mil Mario.
Molinari.
20-1, and Ian Poulter at 25-1. Which
I think he's up there too. Actually, I want to say he's on the. I thought he was.
The first round, I mean, we'll get into it, but the first round...
Maybe not. Poulter actually might have done that.
Thursday is not the big day. The biggest day, really, is Saturday. Like, Saturday is where you need to start playing some serious golf. Yeah. You just need to make sure you make the cut and you're within several strokes and you have a shot, especially if you can put up a big number. All right, so we're going to talk about that a little bit as well. And the Bry Man also has his WrestleMania, his quick recap and overall grade for WrestleMania. We'll do that towards the end of the show. And he also has some parting thoughts as well on a couple different things. But we got a great show, so let's go.
You are listening to Sports and Sorts with Shane and the Bry Man.
Okay, so the first thing I wanted to do is I want to get quickly discuss this. Not even really discuss it. I just kind of want your quick reaction. Okay. Because this is something that happened recently. It's involved with wrestling, and I was kind of shocked by it, and I wanted to hear your take because I haven't talked to you about it since. But I want to know what your thoughts are about Bret the Hitman Hart getting tackled by a fan during his Hall of Fame induction speech after having a stroke and beating cancer. The 60-plus-year-old Bret the Hitman Hart gets tackled by a crap bag from the audience. And as a big wrestling fan, I was a huge Bret the Hitman Hart fan. He was my favorite wrestler for years growing up. As a big wrestling fan yourself, who still watches it on the regular, what are your quick thoughts about that?
I was disgusted. I mean, I watched it live. I was watching the Hall of Fame induction on Saturday night, and I saw it happen live. And at first I was like, because they don't first of all, the setup for the Hall of Fame induction was very different this year than it was in years past. Usually it's on a stage. Yeah. This year, they set up a wrestling ring in the middle of the arena. I want to say it was at Barclays. They set up a wrestling ring, and then they had, the fans and other wrestlers surrounding it, sitting in seats, which is very, very different. And like one side of the wrestling ring was open, the ropes were off of it, so that the recipients could just go like up the stairs that they had set up to go into the ring. It was kind of a cool setup, actually. In hindsight, I'm starting to wonder if WWE will ever do that again, because look how easy it made it for a fan to get access.
Yeah.
And Bret Hart was also up on the stage with his niece, Natalia Neidhart, the daughter of Jim the Anvil Neidhart, who was there accepting the award on her late father's behalf. Yeah, and then this Rastafarian dumbass-looking white dude comes out from the audience and tackles Bret, pulls him down, and in the process, she gets pulled down too. And it seemed like within a second, Ronda Rousey's husband, who I think his name is Travis Brown, he's an MMA fighter, he was in there in a heartbeat. Getting on top of the guy and pounding him. And then, as the guy was being ushered out, too, like by security and by other wrestlers, there were just other wrestlers just getting shots in on him.
Yeah.
Which, only thing about that concerns me is I hope that guy doesn't sue, because he doesn't deserve to be able to sue.
Yeah.
It's good that he should have gotten his ass kicked up and down that arena. But he might have what sucks, given the world that we live in and the country that we live in, and my friend, Timmy Tim, who was here watching WrestleMania, he saw it and he brought that up the next night, and he's like, that guy might have a lawsuit. And I'm like, yeah, he probably does, which sucks.
I think he already is. I think he's suing Bret.
Yeah. Well, I don't know how he could sue Bret.
Well, that's the thing. Is like, but he can't. But so like there is.
I don't know how he could sue Bret. That's the guy he attacked. But if he wants to, because I think there was, I want to say one of the wrestlers, it was either Dawson or Wilder, Scott Dawson or Dash Wilder, I think might have gotten a big blow in on him.
Oh, while he's going to get money. Unfortunately, he's going to get money.
I know, he probably will, and that to me is probably the most upsetting thing.
Yeah.
I mean, you attacked a man. You attacked a guy. Yes, all the things you pointed out. A cancer survivor, a stroke survivor. I mean, this guy, and not to mention just the physical beating and the toll that wrestling has taken on him. And all the crap that WWE put him through at one point. Yep. The fact that he can even stand on a WWE stage now and be okay with Vince McMahon and to have put all that behind him shows you a lot about the man that Bret Hart is. And I, growing up, was not a Bret Hart fan. I actually was a fan of the Hart Foundation. I was a huge fan of the Hart Foundation. But when Bret became a singles competitor, and I started to dislike him because of how much he hated Hogan. And if you hated Hogan back in the day, then you were dead to me. So I didn't really care.
I loved him because I loved his skill set in the ring. Like, that's what I loved.
He was. I would have to admit, probably technically the best wrestler ever.
Yeah.
Just in terms of skill. It's hard to argue. I mean, Ric Flair is in the conversation, but Bret Hart could do things in the ring technically that were just unbelievable. Unbelievable training from his father, Stu Hart, in the dungeon. Bret Hart he's one of the all-time greats. So to see that happen and to see it live was really bizarre, because you're like, what the hell is going on? Like, is this is this an angle? Are they working something right now? Yeah. And then you're like, no, wait a minute, this just happened. Like, he just got attacked. Yep. Some loser came from out of nowhere and tackled him and then kind of swung him down and pulled Natty down. And then next thing you know, Travis Brown's in there grounding and pounding. But yeah, it was horrible. Yeah. I mean, it was awful.
It's going to be unfortunate because he is going to get money. I mean, the society that we live in, and there's so much video footage of it.
Oh yeah,
he's getting money.
Oh yeah,
he's probably going to get jail time, but he's also going to get money.
He'll get jail time and he'll get paid. Yeah. It's like the most bizarre. Welcome to the American justice system.
Yeah, that's kind of where we are at with this. And unfortunately, like you should like that. And what they're going to say is, you know what? They got the guy. Let the legal system take over. Don't sit there and cold cock him when he's being held by 12 guys.
Yeah, I mean, but you know what this reminds me of, though, to an extent, is like, you know how, again, going back to the legal system in this country, like, if somebody robs your house and your dog attacks that robber and hurts the robber can sue you. Even though that person was trespassing on your property, violating your home, you can actually get sued.
I would like to hear from a lawyer because that doesn't sound right. That doesn't sound right.
I'm pretty sure that's
because if he's trespassing, should all especially if he's taking stuff, everything should be thrown out the window at that point in time. I don't know. I would like to hear from a lawyer.
I'm pretty sure that I'm right about that. I hope I'm wrong, but I think I'm right about it.
I'd like to hear from a lawyer about that one. All right, so let's get into the show. I wanted to just touch on that real quick because I thought it was absolutely disgusting. I couldn't believe it was happening. Horrible. I can't believe that thought would even go cross somebody's mind.
I mean, it's like one thing when you run onto like a football field or a baseball field and you run around a little, and then you get naked and you get tackled. Yeah. I mean, that's one thing. It's stupid. I hesitate to call it entertaining. It's dumb.
Yeah.
Because you're going to jail, idiot. But it's harmless, I guess, ultimately.
Yeah.
You know, unless you're trying to tackle players, but
yeah, that's not cool. But yeah, it just.
But this was a violent act.
It was. He was trying to do something crazy.
He was trying to hurt him.
Yeah. All right. Let's move on.
You are listening to Sports and Sorts with Shane and the Bry Man.
To
the state of the Yankees.
So the Yankees have been playing piss poor, but the similarities there are similarities that are rearing their head from last year's team.
Oh yeah, way too many for my liking.
You have mentioned this before.
I did,
and I was trying to give them time to get their swagger back, because every time they make a comeback, they can't put up quite enough runs to actually win the game,
and then their vaunted bullpen can't hold.
They give up a run or two and give back the lead or extend the lead.
And then once that happens, you know they're dead.
Yeah.
They're dead.
They dig their heads in the sand and they give up. Yeah. That's just what happens. And now...
Well, it was us. We gave up. The game is tied, or we lost the lead, and now we can't pick ourselves up off the mat. I keep calling them the glass jaw Yankees.
I do think that this is mainly because they rely on the home run. And
of course it is.
They will score in bunches.
They can't produce runs.
They will score in bunches. The problem is that the home runs don't last because it's really tough to hit a baseball for a base hit. Period. It's just 3 out of 10 and you are a Hall of Famer if you do that for your career. Now, it's like 10 times harder to hit a home run. So I also put the blame on Marcus Timms. Because I blame the manager. I put the blame on Marcus Timms because although they hit a ton of homers, they also rarely hit in the clutch because you have to make a lot of contact to do that. And instead, their strikeouts are way the heck up. Now, the bullpen has been disastrous and Britton has been bad. And this is after I wanted him to be extended because I thought he figured it out. Well, it's still early, but the early signs are he has significantly regressed. And, the good news that we have going forward is that they usually play well at home. And they have
weak competition coming in.
They have a 9-game homestand coming up. And starting against the White Sox this week, CeCe comes back on Saturday. Yeah. So we have a lot of things that are going in the right way to kind of help us right the ship. Because we did start off 9-9 last year, which is not a good record. And right now we're 5-7. And if we have a good homestand, we could essentially be 9-9 very soon. If we go 4-2, that's 9-9. And we won over 100 games last year. But This is right now. It's a much different team because there are so many injuries. Many injuries. Andujar was a big help last year with his bat. Granted, he's not the best fielder. Gleyber Torres was at second. Second is much better suited for him. Although he hasn't played bad at short. He just doesn't have a ton of range, which is fine. I can live with that. And he also, his head's in the clouds quite often. He makes some boneheaded mental mistakes, which drives me crazy. Because that's one thing that you can always prepare for. No matter what your athletic level is, you can always prepare against mental mistakes just by keeping your head.
Those are the ones that you can prevent even more than the physical mistakes.
The physical ones, you can't do anything about. You only have so much physical athleticism. Like there's only so much you can do. You can't jump 30 feet in the air. So if it's a ball goes right out of your wrist, right out of your, grasp, you couldn't do anything about it. If you make a dive and you couldn't get to the ball, well, you just didn't have the athleticism to get there.
You didn't have the range, right?
So, but the problem is that he does a lot of things where he doesn't dive when you should dive. And he does things where he turns instead of turning and looking to throw the ball. He turns, looks, and hesitates.
Right.
And he does that a lot. He does that, all over the place. He has a hard time knocking the ball down when you're supposed to be, you have to knock the ball down and you should there's a lot of just mental mistakes that he makes. Even on the base paths, he does it too. Which hopefully he's still young. Hopefully he'll right the ship. He's kind of also in his 20s, so it's unlikely that he's going to change that, but hopefully. So anyway, I am nervous to start the season. I'm anxious to see what happens over this 9-game homestand. If they do not go 6-3, I will be drastically disappointed. Over these next 9 games.
And they kind of have to.
And they have to. They really do. Because
this is the soft part of their schedule. April was a soft schedule.
They're just lighting it up right now. I don't expect them to continue. Although I think it's Glasnow has been really pitching well. Is it Tyler Glasnow?
I think so.
Third,
and that's
their third starter.
Yeah, what's scary about that was that wasn't a guy that you were necessarily.
Well, he was young and he started to throw the ball well last year. He's he's a tall, good, strong pitcher.
I mean, I think for them, you were more concerned about Snell and Morton.
Well, of course, but I wasn't worried about Morton just because I don't even know if he's ever pitched a full season. He's not great. He's a 4 ERA guy. He's not great. He's probably going to be like a 4.2, 4.3 ERA guy in the East, and he's gonna pitch okay. He's not going to be great, but he's not young anymore. So Blake Snell, obviously very talented, and if Glasnow can step up and be that dominant guy as well, which he was touted. I think he was a number 1 overall pick, or he was around there. He was a number 1 pick, I believe, a few years back. He could be another stud, and that could be scary. Because I was not expecting him to be a stud. I kind of touted him as like a number 3 starter, which the way that he's pitching right now, he's like a 1A. He's a 1B to Snell's 1A. That's how well he's pitching. So I'll be interested to see how that plays out. But the Red Sox are still playing like garbage, but
they walked off last night, which was so predictable too.
I wouldn't expect that to continue. So, the Yankees just need to start getting some wins in the win column.
They need to, because if you're expecting the Red Sox to be a 4-8 kind of team, you're nuts. That's no 4-8 team. That team's going to get it together, and when they do, it's going to get scary. To me, it's still the Red Sox division. I am highly concerned about Tampa, as I was before we even started. When we did our preseason predictions, I said Tampa Bay was going to come in third, but I said they were going to be even peskier than usual. Now you're starting to wonder if pesky is the right word. Maybe they're just good. And if they are, guess what? One of those 3 teams, or one of the Yankees or the Red Sox then, is not going to make the playoffs, because Tampa will. If this trend obviously continues, and maybe they are that good. What are they, 10-3? I think the only team with a better record is Seattle, who's I think at 13-2 right now. Seattle looks good, by the way. That was extremely unexpected to me. I thought Seattle would be able to put some runs on the board, but I thought their pitching would be really, really suspect.
It won't continue.
I mean, I would assume you're right, but 13-2.
They did play better without Cano last year. they did play better without Cano last year. They don't have Cano this year. They did lose Nelson Cruz, but they added a bat in Edward Encarnacion.
Yeah.
So I mean, they're not. I just don't. I expect them to be in the middle of the pack somewhere in that division. I still don't. Yeah. I don't expect them to hold up. Like I just can't see it happening.
I don't either. I mean, it's Houston's still gonna.
But it is Glasnow. I mean, listen to this. Tyler Glasnow, 3-0, 17 innings, which means he's going more than 5 per inning. I mean, per game. Mm-hmm. A .53 ERA, a .824 WHIP with 21 strikeouts in 17 innings.
Right.
That's scary, and he's only 25 years old, so very scary.
Yeah, it is.
If he continues to pitch like that, this could be a long season. Because like I said, the Red Sox are not going to play as bad as they're playing right now. They might not win 100 games, but they're probably going to make the playoffs in one way or another, somehow. Yep. So, and I would have to say the Yankees are going to definitely have to start putting their foot on the gas and start taking care of business. And as of right now, with so many people being on the DL, it's going to be tough. If there was ever a reason to sign Keuchel, because they have lost faith in Chance Adams. They've seen his velocity go down. His stuff isn't quite as good. Yep. I don't know. Ever since he had shoulder surgery to remove bone spurs, he's just kind of hasn't been the same pitcher. I don't know why. I mean, he's a 91 to 93 guy now, when he used to be a 93, 95. That's a big deal. Right. And he hasn't really developed a curveball. He's just kind of a change-up fastball guy, and that's really about it. You got to be more than that. So he might end up going to the bullpen at some point in time, being like a Chad Green, because Chad Green doesn't seem to have it right now either. So
to me, it's ridiculous that they haven't called Dallas Keuchel, but I don't even want to talk about it, because this is the new Yankees. This is the new Yankee way. Yeah. They are a more frugal team. And they are not going to sign him unless it's absolute desperation. That's what I've read.
Unfortunately.
From a number of guys who cover the Yankees, I've read that there's just no way it's happening. So why even bother talking about it? Which I think it's ridiculous. If you're really all in and you're trying to win and you're trying to produce a World Series team, because the way I'm looking at Severino right now, I would just, at this point, you almost have to approach it as if he's just not coming back this year. You almost do. I understand what they're saying, that they don't think it's as severe, and it's going to be through May and maybe even into June now or whatever. To me, you have to look at it like he's gone. Like he's gone for the year. I think you have to approach it that way. Anything other than that is taking a very big risk. And I'm sorry, you can't replace an arm like that. You can't replace him. Even with a Dallas Keuchel, you can't replace him. But you do need to have a steady arm in that rotation who can give you innings and not blow up games.
Yeah.
And Dallas Keuchel is the only guy remaining who could do that. And even though I liked the Gio Gonzalez signing because I like him, it's very clear from early indications that Gio Gonzalez is done. Yeah. And that's probably why he went unsigned. Yeah. I don't think Dallas Keuchel is done. I think teams were just scared off
by the price tag.
By the price tag, yeah. But other than that, no reason not to pursue Dallas Keuchel.
He wants more than a qualifying offer for a one-year deal.
And he deserves that. I'm sorry, but you can't argue to me that he doesn't deserve more than a qualifying. The guy has won a Cy Young Award.
Well, he wants more
for a world champion team.
I think he wants more than $18 million for a one-year deal. And
that's what his market should be.
He said he will take less for a multi-year deal.
Yeah, I mean, how do you?
I don't know. I don't know why he's. I mean, especially being a lefty in the Yankee Stadium.
Yeah, a lefty pitching in Yankee Stadium.
Unless Keuchel just says, "I'm keeping my beard, bro. Like I'm not going to Yankees."
He'll take Yankee money if he has to shave the beard. He already hinted at that. I think.
I know, but I don't know. If somebody else is kind of being like similar money, I don't know.
I'll tell you, man, this new Yankee way is definitely driving me bonkers. It really is. And I'm not even so much upset about Harper or Machado. Like, I get it. I didn't want Machado on the team. Harper I probably would have been pretty happy with. But look, I get it. And the Yankees still have a big payroll. It's not like they don't. It's just, I think the question with Brian Cashman is how you're allocating the money. And again, I have to keep going back to, how did you not pursue some kind of a left-handed bat in this offseason? I just don't get that. What is Brian Cashman doing? He confuses the hell out of me. He really does, which is why I'm we talked about that last episode and how I think the Yankees would be well within their rights to, put him on the hot seat at this point. There's just I just don't understand the plan. I didn't understand the plan. There were a lot of very odd signings to me this offseason, and I just don't know that I understand the plan. And yes, you just made a very good point about Dallas Keuchel. You want left-handed pitchers pitching to the big part of Yankee Stadium. And Dallas Keuchel is a former Cy Young winner, a guy who's been through the playoff grind. He's won a World Series. He's been in big games. What else, other than the price tag, concerns you about him? I mean, unless you really, really think, in looking at him, that he has declined so much that you're just saying he's done. I can't say that. I can't say that. The guy was still an effective pitcher last year. He's not done. Is he declined? Sure. 31 years old. He's got a little mileage on the arm now. Is he done? No way. No way.
Well, I don't know. What's going on.
They're not going to do anything. So if there's Yankee fans out there who are expecting them to go pursue Dallas Keuchel, get that out of your head. It's not happening.
Yeah, I don't know what they're going to do. I don't know if they're just going to try and wait the storm out. But CC comes back this Saturday.
By the time you wait that storm out, you're going to be about 10 games out. In
the biggest problem coming up with CC Saturday is that bullpen's going to get taxed because he's not going to go more than 5 innings.
No, he's
probably going to go 4.
Yeah,
and
that's a bullpen game.
That's a big time bullpen.
And you're still without Betances, so yeah,
it's going to be tough. All right. It'll be nice to see when Betances come back, see if he can give that bullpen a little bit of an adrenaline shot. See if they can get their act together. But all right, so let's get on. Let's get off the Yankees. Let's get less depressed, and hopefully get a little more happy. And we can talk about the sport that I enjoy quite a bit.
Play ball.
Nope, that's not it.
That's not it. It's this one.
Get in the hole!
Baba Booey!
There you go.
I didn't hear any Baba Booey's yesterday from the Masters Gallery. Very disappointing.
Doesn't happen that often.
Oh, they don't. It happens a lot.
I never hear it.
Well, they play it Howard Stern plays the clips all the time. They always do like a little Baba Booey thing when But it happens. It's just all
right, so DeChambeau, Koepka, both in first place, 6 under right now. Phil Mickelson,
with our boy right there.
Phil Mickelson tees off at 10:53 at 5 under. Justin Johnson 4 under. Harding 3 under. Adam
Good
Scott
names.
3 under. Ram 3 under.
Poulter 4.
Poulter is 3 under. He's over 1 over today.
Oh, he's already 1 over. Okay, I know he was 4.
Let's see who else we got here. Woods is 2 under. He tees off at 149. So
Tiger's there. Tiger's in the hunt.
Yeah, he's there. I am very excited about this. Now,
I think I am too. I have a feeling this is going to end up being a good Masters.
I'm excited for a couple of reasons. One, I'm excited that Koepka is in it because this will give him another major.
It would. Yes.
And now you're getting into some rarefied air.
Sure.
Because this will be, his third?
It'd be his third, yeah.
Now you're talking, if you're going to win a major or 2 per year, now you have my attention. So he is getting my attention. I still, my favorite young golfer is still Jordan Spieth. He has kind of lost his swing, and he's kind of trying to... He was
brutal yesterday.
Yeah, he's trying.
He might already be out of it.
He's trying to figure it out. Things aren't going well for him, but it is what it is. I still think that he'll figure it out. And he's such a young guy. He's still only like 25 years old, so he'll figure it out. But
well, I agree.
Phil is in the hunt. He's our favorite golfer.
Yes, he is.
I'm super excited about that. Actually, I just recently listened to a story about, there was a country singer. I can't remember what his name is off the top of my head, but he was harassing Phil Mickelson about his play against Tiger, that big event that they had.
Yeah.
And he was talking about how the match. The match. And he was like, he basically was at a wedding with Phil Mickelson. And
I remember.
I think it might have been Jordan Spieth's wedding. So they were both at the wedding together. And this guy, I can't remember what his name is. And I'm sorry if I offend anybody.
We've offended the country music fan base.
But I can't remember what the guy's name is, but he has a couple hits. So apparently he was getting a little, he was participating in some libations. He was imbibing quite a bit, and he ended up seeing Phil, and he was like, you know what? I'm gonna go over and say something to this guy. I'm gonna go say something to him. So he walked over to Phil Mickelson, and he said, Phil, what the heck? He's like, I want $29.95 back. He's like, that was the most overhyped match ever, and it was the worst golf I've ever seen. There was like 2 birdies between the two of you in 18 holes. You guys played on forever. You couldn't birdie a damn hole. I want my money back. There was technical issues. He was going off on Phil. And Phil just stopped and looked at him. He goes, pulls out like a big, huge wad of money, pulls out $100 bill, and he goes, here. I won 90,000 of these yesterday, like last week or something like that, and threw it at him and just walked away. And he's like, kiss my ass or something like that. So then, a little while later, because this guy plays golf, right? He plays golf, and he ended up going in a pro-am, and he is going to be paired up with Phil Mickelson.
Oh, wow.
And he's like, I was really hammered. And he's like, my wife was like telling me, like, I really, really was leaning into him, because he actually went and took a cab ride home with him and everything afterwards. Like, and really? He was like just railing on Phil, like over and over and over again. And Phil took it like a champ. Mm-hmm. But then they went up together, and Phil sees the guy, and he sees that he's going to be paired up with him, and he like called him out by name. He was like, "Hey, how's it going, man?" He's like, I was so nervous that you were going to be so mad at me about, all the stuff that I did when I was like really drunk, and I was mad about what happened, but I went a little too overboard. He's like, no, man, it was great. That was awesome. He's like, that was the best thing ever. That was the most fun I had at the wedding. He's like, you were just giving me so much stuff. He's like, everybody usually just cowers down and doesn't say anything. And they're like, yeah, you're great. You're this.
Or kisses his ass.
Yeah. You're like, you're awesome. You're awesome. They don't say anything negative. He's like, it was great. He's like, my wife didn't appreciate it, but I thought it was awesome.
That's funny. Yeah, that's Phil though.
Yeah. So it's very, very good.
I'm with you though. I think this is actually going to be a really entertaining Masters weekend. I'm really looking forward to watching on Sunday. As far as Koepka goes, I have to tell you, man, watching this guy, and look, I know it was only Thursday, and the real pressure doesn't, as you kind of said, start till Saturday, which is moving day. But I will tell you, man, Brooks Koepka, though, that guy, he is a stone cold killer. There's ice water in his veins at these events, and I'll tell you what, I mean, the only thing that concerns me about him, although he has trimmed down and kind of leaned out a little bit, which I think is probably good for him, because I think carrying too much muscle, I think as we saw with Tiger, wasn't such a good thing physically.
Yeah.
And Tiger is not nearly as jacked as he once was, and he's a little more lean again, which I think is good for him, for golf. And when you consider the torque on your body, I mean, you know this, you're a good golfer. I mean, you know that, having too much, muscle on your body, having too much muscle in general in sports is always a dangerous thing, because you got to be flexible, you got to be limber, and I think Brooks Koepka is realizing, man, I'm really good at this game. I need to make sure I am as in peak physical condition as possible, especially in terms of being limber and that kind of stuff. And he has turned down, and he looks good. I'll tell you what, man, this is the kind of guy who I could see being a real force for a long time. And I was telling you before we went on that, Jim Nantz was kind of ripping the media a little bit yesterday because they were talking about Koepka. And, you know, the big knock against Koepka is the thing that you didn't like about him, which is that he's not exactly Captain Charisma. You know, he doesn't...
So boring.
He doesn't stand out in a crowd. He's boring. He does have a ridiculously hot wife, and he's a good-looking guy and all that. But other than that, he didn't really stand out. But, like, Nance was ripping the media yesterday, and he was like, who cares about this guy's charisma or his personality? He's like, this guy's a winner. He's out here to win tournaments. Yeah, see, you know, I know you're raising your hand, and I get, like, because you want your winners to also have personality. You want these guys
sell the game.
You want them to sell the game. You know what, though? And I'm not going to make this comparison because it would be sacrilegious, but because it's so early in Koepka's career. But the sort of approach that he has to the game, he's clearly a very confident player. And I think he knows how good he is, but he doesn't go out of his way to be a personality. In a lot of ways, it reminds me of it again. I'm not going to get sacrilegious with this because you can't compare a guy who's won 20 major championships to a guy who's won 2. But he reminds me from a little bit of Roger Federer. Federer's personality is not huge. No. Okay? He's a kind of reserved guy. Mm-hmm. I mean, when they talk to him, you know...
But it's such a one-on-one sport, you can appreciate it more. Because you're seeing him one-on-one against another guy. Whereas this, he's not the focal point every single time out.
But their games, to me, though, I mean, at least in terms of the way they approach the game, are very similar. They both seem to be... Federer is extremely cerebral, and he's incredibly well-conditioned. And he just kind of goes about his business. And I know it's boring, but I love guys like that. You know how much I love Federer. I love Roger Federer. Yeah. He's one of the more... And what's ironic about that, though, is that my favorite tennis player growing up was Andre Agassi, who couldn't have been more about personality and image is everything, quote-unquote, image is everything.
The big flowing
mullet. The hair, the ridiculous good looks, the hot wife, Andre Agassi was the whole package, and he won 8 majors. And the truth about Andre Agassi is he probably should have won more. He probably should have won 12 to 15. He was that good. He just got so caught up in the image thing.
Yeah.
Whereas Federer is he's just another guy. He's just this business-like approach, and he just racks up major after major after major. And I can almost see Koepka maybe being a little bit like that. Again, long way to go. Mm-hmm. Let's see him get this one out of the way because winning the Masters is such a big deal, you know. But there are some similarities, and I can live with him being just a great golfer and having, you know, a nothing personality. If he racks up wins and goes about his business, I'll have some respect for that, even if he doesn't do it with a ton of, you know, persona. I'm okay with that.
He looks like he's going to fall asleep when he's on, like, the 18th hole putting. That sucks.
He does. I mean, he does. I agree with you. He does have that look. I mean, there's no...
Eeyore out there.
Yeah, I guess I'll win a major now. But I don't know. He's a talented guy, though, man.
Yeah.
You cannot deny the skill set. It's
very
there.
Talented, very jacked. Seems to have it all. He's multi-talented, and you know, not just in golf. I think he's just a talented individual.
Yeah.
Step up your mic game, bro. Go WWE route. You know, go out there, take some mic skill lessons, and get it on, brother.
I'll tell you what, though. This really could be a fun weekend. It could be a really fun weekend if him, Tiger, Phil are all in the hunt. But again, there was sort of a who's who of names up there at the top.
Oh, this is a good one. This is really good. This is what you want to start. Yeah. This is what you want. I mean, by the way, where's Rory and Ricky Fowler? I don't know where they're at. Rory Fowler is, I don't think he was, let's see, hold on. Spieth was 3 over.
Yeah. Which it's not good. I mean, he's already 9 off the pace.
Rory's 1 over.
Okay, he's there. I mean, he's
gonna have to have a big
7
day.
off. Yeah, he will. He's 7 off the pace. He will have to have a big day, and you're gonna have the field come back to him a little bit.
Yeah, which I don't think it's coming back.
No, the Masters is usually a pretty low scoring.
Fowler's 2 under.
Okay, so he's right there.
And Jason Day's 2 under.
So the big guys, you got Fowler,
Finau's 1 under.
So you got Tiger, you got Phil.
You got a lot of big names.
You got you got Jason Day, you got Fowler, you got Brooks Koepka, you got Adam Scott, Ian Poulter. There's some big names here.
Ooh, Mike Weir is even par.
Even DeChambeau there, who's in tied for first. He's a relatively decent name. I mean, there's good names. There's
a lot of good names. A lot of really good names.
There's a lot to like after day one. A lot to like.
Poulter's 4 under.
Yeah, Poulter's good.
He's even through 2.
Yeah.
Today. So yeah, I mean, there's a lot. There's a lot going on.
You know, the bottom line with the Masters too is there's some par 5s late in the back 9 on that course, and you have to at least birdie each of those. You have to. I mean, it's probably like any other course, but I mean, unless you're talking about U.S. Open courses, and U.S. Open courses with a par 5, you probably just hope to par them because they're like nightmares. But with the Masters, you have to birdie, at least birdie those, because I think there were some eagles yesterday too on some of those par 5s.
Yeah, I mean, this is just a great day. I mean, we're starting this show off because you know what? Phil's teeing off in about 7 minutes, so we gotta get ready to go. So, all right. So, thank you guys for watching, listening. However you took this in. I know Brian Man wants to go a little WrestleMania grade real quick.
I'm just gonna give you 3 quick things. 1, I was not overly impressed with this WrestleMania. I give it a 7 out of 10. I'll call it a C-. Too long, just way too long. It's just too much. By the time you get to the main event, you're exhausted, and the main event was supposed to be the best match of the night, and it really wasn't. I actually think the best and most match that I was most engaged in was Daniel Bryan versus Kofi Kingston, and the world got what it wanted. Kofi won, and he won the title, and that was great. But the main event between Becky Lynch and Ronda and Charlotte should have been better. It had sort of a controversial ending, and again, it was like 12:30 in the morning when it ended. They have to dial WrestleMania back. You got to try and get WrestleMania end before midnight. There's another real quick thing. If you haven't paid attention to the way Magic Johnson exited the Lakers as senior vice president of basketball operations, take a look at that story. It is one of the most bizarre exits for a guy from a job that I have ever heard of. I won't go into the details. Look it up for yourself. It's a really, really out there story. The way he went about it is unprofessional. Doesn't really seem to quite cover it. There's so much more than that. And then the last story of the day. This was from the world of the weird. A couple hours ago, some website called Jezebel posted a story about how Kristen Cavallari, the ridiculously hot wife of former NFL quarterback Jay Cutler, says that Jay Cutler, her husband, had to help her unclog her milk ducts, her breasts, by quote-unquote sucking harder than he's ever sucked. And to Krista Cavallari, I say this. If you think that Jay Cutler had to suck harder than he's ever sucked to unclog your milk ducts, then, sweetie, you never saw that guy play football. Because that's where Jay Cutler sucked the hardest.
That's funny, because I actually just heard about, what's her face? I'm drawing a blank on her name right now. She plays Anna in Frozen.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, she, I like her a lot. I think she's really funny. She actually does a show, like a YouTube thing with, on Ellen's YouTube channel, about like talking with other moms and stuff like that. And she talked about how Dax Shepard had to do that.
Kristen, you're talking about Kristen Bell, yeah.
Yes, Kristen Bell, yes, that's it. So how she had that happen, and Dax Shepard had to do it. He had to do the same thing. He had to unclog her milk duct. And, it sucks.
Yeah.
This was does.
This was the quote.
That stuff that's dangerous. So like, yeah, I mean, you got to get it done somehow.
This was. It was part of a reality show on the E! Network where she was drunk with a bunch of her friends, and she told the dinner companions that she had quote unquote major clogged ducts. Jay had to get them out for me, sucking harder than he's ever sucked.
That's gonna lead to so many comments.
Oh God, it's all over them. It's too much.
The sunglasses with a cigarette's gonna come out soon.
Oh, that already happened. Yeah. That already happened. Yeah, no, that happened. I already saw that. That was actually one of the very first ones I saw, was him with the cigarette. That's crazy, man.
Good times. Good times.
I mean, it might have been good times.
Thanks for watching, listening, however you took this in. Really appreciate you for checking us out. Be sure to comment in the comment section. We always looking. we always listen and we always watch. We always respond to the I can't even talk now. You took.
Hopefully we'll be maybe we'll be here on Monday. I mean, who knows? We hope 10 a.m.
This past Monday, I got hit in the eye with something. Well, over the weekend.
In the face.
I got hit something in the eye, and it turned my whole eye, like the inside white part of my eye was like completely bloody. And so I had to go to the eye doctor and get that looked at to make sure there's nothing bad. As I've said many times before, type 1 diabetic. Got to make sure my eye's okay. So, all right. So I had to do that. Unfortunately, couldn't do the show that day. You know, it worked out. Brian Man was tie too, so he had a late WrestleMania. So.
Oh God. I did. I got the kids on the bus and then I went back to bed for like a couple hours.
He was tie.
And I started the workday.
All right. So thank you guys very much for listening, watching, however you took it in. We will see you again on Monday, hopefully 10-ish. And we will be talking about hopefully a great weekend from the Yankees and a Phil Mickelson win. That would be just phenomenal.
Yeah, and you can find me on Twitter at @the_Bry_man.
Find me on Twitter at Einhornusfinkel.
Stay classy.
The show at Shane and Bryman. Facebook.com/Shane and the Bryman. Deuces. I knew it. I knew you were going to do it.